Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Ryan and this is a level 1 flow. Today's focus will be on strength and we'll start off on the back. Making any movements, any adjustments needed so that you can find stillness. You can have the legs long on the mat, the knees bent with the feet on the floor, or the feet together with the knees wide. Eventually letting the eyes come to a close. The awareness comes into the breath. Using the breath to still the mind, the random thoughts, to ground you in this present moment. Inviting your Viloma 3-part breath. And the 3 parts of the breath would be your belly, the chest, and the throat. If there's any anxiety associated with changing the breath, feel free to skip this and just return to a natural pace at any point. So as you inhale, feel the belly rise, inhaling further into the chest so that the rib cage expands, and then sip in that last bit of air into the throat. As you exhale, it leaves the throat, out of the chest, and lastly out of the belly. So go ahead and repeat that a few more times on your own. If you need feedback, you can always have the hands resting on the belly and chest to feel the rising and falling of the different parts of the body. Inhaling into the belly, into the chest, into the throat, exhaling out of the throat, out of the chest, and out of the belly. A couple more here on your own. Good. And after your last round, returning your breath to its natural way of breathing. Letting the eyes glide back open. And we'll draw the knees into the chest. A little rock from left to right. And maybe a little bit front to back. And then placing the feet back on the floor. Starting off this practice with some crunches. We'll bring the hands behind the neck for support. And as you crunch, we're going to aim to lift the shoulders and the neck off of the floor. Be mindful about using the hands to pull the neck off the floor. We want to really keep this engagement through the core, and the hands are really just to support the neck. So picking a number, maybe it's 5, 10, 15, or 20, and just moving at your own pace. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Great. So drawing the knees back in. And for these, we'll get the lower abdominal. So these are reverse crunches. So we'll have the knees a little bit bent. The hands can be on the floor beside you. And what we're trying to do is lift the lower back and the tailbone a little bit off the floor. Not a big amount. It should be just a small little amount. So what we're going to do is crunch, lifting the lower back off of the mat, come right back down. And think about trying to curl the tailbone or the pelvis up towards the rib cage. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Last one, 10. And where this movement really comes in handy is if you have a shoulder stand practice. The reverse crunch is what would bring you into that shoulder stand. So the act of swinging the legs up to catch the hands on the lower back to get into that shoulder stand is very helpful. And next we'll take the bridge pose, but we'll do these with repetitions. For this bridge, we want to think about engaging with the glutes to start. So we would roll the shoulder blades underneath one another. Let's have the elbows into the floor with the fingertips pointing up, pressing the elbows into the floor. This is going to engage into the lat muscles of the back, so it's more of a pulling movement. So press the elbows down. Notice how the chest lifts and underneath the armpits may tighten up or engage. Pressing into the feet, lifting the hips up, squeezing the glutes, and then we're going to lower back down. That's 1, 2, 3. There's this continual isometric engagement of the elbows into the floor. 4, squeezing the glutes. 5, 6, 7, 8. Tuck the tailbone. 9, and last one, 10. We'll hold this one. A couple of breaths here. Elbows pressing down. Glutes are engaged. Tucking the tailbone invites the stretch to the top of the hips. Few more breaths. At the end of your next exhalation, we'll lower back down and bring the knees back in. Little rock left to right. So the feet are going to come back to the floor. This next exercise is a cross-body crunch. We'll bring the hands behind the neck. As you crunch your right elbow towards the left knee, you're going to bring the left knee towards the right elbow. Try and tap towards the outside of the knee, and then we're going to return to the floor. Left elbow taps outside of the right knee. Bring it back down, and we'll go for, say, about 10 in total. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. So whenever you work on strength, it's nice to do a couple of sets of each exercise. In this practice, we'll do 2 sets of everything, but as you get stronger, you can add a 3rd set, a 4th set. So we'll repeat those 4 exercises again. Hands come behind the neck for support, just a regular crunch. Shoulders lift off the floor, supporting the back of the neck. Lower back down, 10 repetitions. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Last one, 10. Excellent. Hands come to the floor beside you for the reverse crunch. Extend the feet up towards the ceiling. You can leave the knees bent, or you can even straighten the legs anywhere you need to be. So you're just lifting the lower back off the floor, curling the tailbone in this posterior tilt towards the pelvis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Last 2. Good. Last 1. Bending the knees, feet come to the floor. So we'll bend the arms, fingertips up towards the sky or the ceiling. Roll the shoulder blades underneath one another. And now we want to have that isometric pressing down with the elbows into the floor. Squeeze the glutes. Press the hips up towards the ceiling for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Last 2. Good. And last 1. We're going to hold. So tuck the tailbone here. Press the elbows in towards the mat. Squeeze the glutes. Chest towards the chin. Chin looks slightly back. And next exhalation, we lower back down. Good. And lastly, the crossover crunch. Hands come behind the neck. Crunch the right elbow to your left knee. Left elbow to the right knee. And we'll do 10 in total. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Good. And last one, 10. Great job. And we'll roll over to one side and we'll meet in the table pose. This next exercise is called scapula push-ups. From the table, we're going to have the hands directly underneath the shoulders. Now, what we want to try and do is send the shoulder blades down the back away from the ears. Now, this is a neutral scapula position. If I let the chest sink down without bending the arms, this is called scapular retraction. If I go to push the floor away, this is called scapula protraction. And this is the movement that we're looking to do to strengthen what's called the serratus anterior of your shoulder blade. It's a really great muscle to help stabilize into the scapula. So we're going to take 10 of these movements. We're going to let the heart, with the arms completely straight, we're going to let the heart drop towards the floor, almost like you're bringing the shoulder blades together. And then we're going to push the shoulder blades away from you, the floor away from you, to do our scapula push-up. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Good. Last one for 10. Great. Let's take a child's pose here. The knees are going to go wide, feet together. I'm going to stretch the arms out in front of you. And a few breaths. Great. Let's meet back in our table pose. So we're going to include that scapula push-up as we do our cat and our cows, cat and dogs. Now, for the cat, I want you to think about pushing the floor away from you and doing that scapula push-up. Into your dog tilt or the cow, retract the shoulder blades a little bit. Not a full retraction, but just, coming out of that protraction. So as you exhale, push the floor away, tuck the tailbone, and look in between the knees. Notice this tucking of the tailbone is the same engagement as we did in our crunches before. This helps with that posterior tilt. Lift the tailbone into the dog tilt. Let the shoulders just sink a little bit. Lifting tail, looking straight ahead. Keep the shoulders down, away from the ears throughout. Exhaling into the cat. Push the floor away. Tuck tailbone. Crunching the core. Couple more. That's 2, 3. Moving at your own breath here. Good. 5. And 6. 7. 8. 2 more. 9. And last one for 10. Push, hold, and perfect. Let's take one more child's pose. Child's pose, when we extend the arms in front like this, is what stretches out that serratus anterior, this overhead movement here. So stretch the arms in front, come onto the tips of the fingers, and melting the heart towards the floor. Meeting back in our table pose, have the toes tucked, and as we find our cat position, our cat tuck tailbone fully, straighten the arms all the way, push the floor away. Here's that protraction coming into play again, and then we're going to lift the knees half an inch off the floor. Keep that tailbone completely tucked, lower the knees back down, lift the tailbone, dog pose. As you exhale, tuck the tailbone. Once it's fully tucked, push into the hands, push out through your scapula, lower the knees back down. We'll take 3 more of these. Good. Tuck tailbone, push into the hands, lift the knees half an inch, lower back down. 2 more. Exhaling cat, push the floor away, lift the knees. Good. And 1 more time. Tuck tailbone, press the floor away. We're going to hold this one for 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower the knees back down. Let's sit onto the heels if this is okay. If not, you can always come into a kneeling position like that. Just kind of roll out the wrists, shake them out. Shake them out the other way. And I'm going to roll out through the shoulders. Shrug them up to the ears, send them down and back. And then just kind of give the arms a little shake out. Okay. So the next thing that we're going to work on is regular push-ups. So if we're not strong enough to push up off of the floor or up in your push-up, if you've taken my other videos, I recommend that you just lower right down onto the belly. This is going to work the eccentric muscle contraction, which is super useful in getting strong for push-ups and for your chaturangas. You get good at push-ups with the knees on the floor. Obviously you can do the knees off of the floor, and the easier these get, the easier the chaturangas get. So let's meet in a hands and knee position. This is going to be an extended table. The knees are going to go behind the hips, right? We want to lean forward so that the shoulders are right over the wrists. Now, when we lean forward, we'll start off with half push-ups. Lean forward, bend the arms, maybe just a little bit. Maybe we can go to right here, and then we push back up. If we can't push back up, maybe make the distance a little bit shorter. Another thing you can do is go to a kitchen counter height and do them against either the wall or that kitchen counter itself. So we'll go for a few rounds. Maybe we'll do the first set, we'll do 3. So lean forward, lower either all the way down, quarter of the way down, halfway down, squeeze the elbows into the side, and we're going to push back up. Try not to stay on the floor for too long. The muscle has this built up energy, and if we sit for too long, we lose that energy. So it's kind of like a spring. Lower right down, we'll push back up. That's 2. One more time. Good. 3. Sit back onto the heels. We'll kind of roll out through the wrists. And give those arms a little shake if you need it. Also, if these are too difficult, you can place your hands on top of blocks. This is going to bring the floor a little closer to you, and it's a really great way of making the exercise a little bit easier to do. And if you need more rest time, feel free to pause the video and start when you're ready. So this one, we'll go for 10. Of course, it's up to you on how many you do. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, last one, 10. Child's pose, knees wide, feet together. Kind of roll out the wrists here. Meeting in downward dog. Plant the hands, tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back. Just pedaling out into the feet. Just working into the hamstrings, the calves, one at a time. Good. At the end of your next exhalation, just walk the feet up to meet the hands, standing forward fold. Inhaling to find length. Exhaling to fold. Inhale, reach the arms, come up to stand. Hands meet together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Exhaling to forward fold. Inhaling to find length. Exhaling, let's step it back to plank. Now for your plank, we can start with the knees on the floor. Now it could be from here, tucking tailbone, or if you want to lift the knees off of the floor, push the floor away at the same time. So here's where we can recruit those scapula muscles. Okay, and then here's our plank. Couple breaths. Let's lower the knees to the floor, and then we'll meet on the belly. We'll start off with the head facing down, and the arms alongside the body, palms down, the thumbs point outwards. So having the thumbs point out like this is going to engage into those rotator cuffs. So squeeze the shoulder blades up off of the floor. Reach the fingertips towards the feet. So we have this depression of the shoulder blades, and then lift them up. Turn the thumbs upwards a little bit towards the ceiling, lifting feet, lifting knees. The gaze is going to be down a little bit towards the top of the mat. And trying to avoid looking forward. This is going to strain the back of the neck, so we're going to look a little bit downward. As you lower back down, we come to that starting position, lifting back up. We're going to go for 10. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, last one, 10. Great. Make a pillow with the arms. Wiggle the hips from side to side, relaxing. So this next one, it might be a little bit harder depending on your overhead mobility. Having the arms in front like this, we're going to have the bottom of the hand on the floor, the thumbs pointing upward. So this is going to engage more of the lower traps. Have the gaze be straight down. As you lift into your locust pose, try and lift the hands off of the floor. We're going to lower back down. And for 10, it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2 more. And last one. Good. Bring it back down. The hands come underneath the shoulders. Press into the hands and knees. We'll take a child's pose to stretch out the lower back. And meeting in downward dog. And having the hands ground into the mat. Press the heart towards the thighs, lifting tailbone. Trying to ground the heels towards the floor. Downward facing dog. Downward dog is a great way to strengthen through the shoulders. At the end of your next exhalation, slowly walking the feet up to meet the hands. With your inhale, flat back, neutral spine. Exhaling to fold forward. Inhale, reach the arms, coming up to stand. Hands meet together in front of the heart. These next two exercises are for the shoulders. Having the arms out to the side, palms face up, pointing the thumbs slightly towards the back of the room. Start to wave the arms back and forth. So what we're looking to do is engage the back, bring the arms behind you, and there's just going to be this natural spring of the arms forward. So don't worry about bringing the arms forward. Just think about bringing them back from the side. So you're just doing this backward movement the whole time. Doesn't take long for the shoulders and the back to feel it. Squeezing the shoulder blades back behind you. You have the thumbs pointing backwards. This gets the rotator cuff, gets the rhomboids, the middle traps, the rear deltoids, the shoulder muscles. Good. And then go ahead and shake it out. Next movement is going to emulate the warrior one position. And it may even seem familiar from those locust poses we did before on the floor when we had the arms stretched out in front of you. So with the thumbs pointing up, we're going to bring the arms up overhead. Have the front rib cage pulled down and engage the core consistently through this movement. Draw the arms back behind you, and we're just going to continue. Try and reach the fingertips all the way up towards the ceiling as you do this. Great. Last one. Go ahead and relax. Shake out the arms. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhaling to forward fold. Inhaling to find length. Exhale, right leg back. Right knee to the floor. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead. As you exhale, sinking the right hip towards the mat. Anjaneyasana, low lunge. Just bring the hands to the sides, making our little cactus arms. And we're going to squeeze the elbows back behind you, shoulder blades together. A couple of breaths here in these cactus arms. It's really working on the strength of the back. Hands come to the floor. Let's step the left leg back behind you. Come into plank. And then for a vinyasa flow, we'll bring the knees to the floor. We're going to lower down either halfway or all the way to the floor, coming into a low cobra, or you can push those arms completely straight into your upward facing dog, taking it back to downward dog. So lower the knees to the floor, and then we're going to grab our blocks. So let's set these blocks up on the highest height. And what we're going to do is a few repetitions of bringing the right leg in between the hands. So let's have that right leg go back behind you. You can have the foot on the floor, and you're going to bring it into the chest and try and plant the foot in between the hands. If this is too easy, you can bring the blocks to the other height. Bring the right leg back behind you. Plant the foot in between the hands. Okay, we'll do 3 more. Bring the foot in between the hands. Every time we're really trying to engage this knee into chest action. 4. Good. And last one. Planting it down. Here we're going to tuck the back foot, lift the knee off the floor, and then step that left foot up just a little bit, right? So here we're going to come onto the tips of the fingers, and then hands come to the hips. With the right leg straight, with the left leg straight, what we're going to do is go to bend the knees, and maybe we lower them about halfway, and then re-straighten. Maybe we come all the way down to the floor and re-straighten. Try not to bang the left knee on the way down. Tap it softly or even hover about a ½ inch off the floor. Okay, so we'll go for 10 in total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Last one, 10. Rebend the right knee. Bring the hands toward the blocks. Step the left foot forward. Exhaling to fold forward. Inhaling to find length. Exhaling, fold one more time. And inhale, reach the arms. Coming up to stand. Hands meet together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Exhaling to fold forward. Inhaling, flat back. Exhale, left foot back. Left knee comes to the floor. Bring the hands to the knee. Sink the hip down towards your front right heel. And then we'll sweep those arms up overhead. Okay, and then we're going to take that cactus arm one more time. So squeeze the elbows back, shoulder blades back. Okay, a couple of breaths here in our lunge. Pressing the left hip towards the heel. So we're getting this openness across the left hip flexor as we strengthen our upper back by, we're not just here and having our arms at the sides, we're actively squeezing everything back in this direction. Hands come to the floor. Let's take the right leg back behind you. Let's take a vinyasa here. Shoulders over the wrists. Okay. Maybe we have this with the knees off the floor. Maybe the knees are on the floor. It doesn't matter. Finding your edge is the most important. Come forward. Bend the arms halfway or to the floor. Inhaling into your low cobra or the upward dog. Meeting back in our table. We can take the blocks. We'll have them underneath the shoulders on the highest height. Leg steps back. Bring the knee into the chest. Plant the foot in between the hands. Send it back. Left foot plants in between. That's 2. We're going to go to 5. 3. 4. Bring it back. And 5. Tuck the back right foot. Lift the knee off the floor. Maybe we hop it up just a little bit, finding the distance that's right for you. And then we'll bring the hands to the hips, finding our crescent lunge. And then for those lunges, maybe we go halfway. Maybe we bring the knee all the way down to the floor. So taking 10 in total. Bending both knees, lower the right knee to the floor, straightening both legs as you come back up. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, last one, 10. Rebend the left knee, hands come to the blocks, stepping your right foot forward into your forward fold. Inhaling to find length, exhaling to fold. Inhale, reach the arms, coming up to stand, hands meet together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead, exhaling to forward fold. Inhale to find length. Let's bring the hands to the blocks, have the blocks right underneath your shoulders. The right leg steps straight back behind you. Now as you exhale, let's straighten the left leg. Inhaling to rebend. And just moving in and out with your breath at your own pace. Runner stretch to lunge. Now every time you come into the runner stretch, activating into the quadricep, the muscle at the top of the thigh, to bring your hamstring into its stretch. Rebend. Couple more repetitions. Moving at your own pace. Good. Couple more. Good. One more time. As you rebend, re-straighten the leg, runner stretch. Let's try and keep that energy straightening the leg. It doesn't have to straighten all the way. Lifting tailbone. Notice if the shoulders are up to the ears, have them down and back. As you rebend the left knee, blocks can move up just to the side, hands to the floor, step your left foot back, vinyasa flow. Shoulders lean over the wrists, bend the arms halfway, inhaling, upward dog or the low cobra, any one of those progressions we went over, taking it back, downward dog. Planting the knees on the floor. So this next one is a little bit more advanced than the progression we did before with the blocks. Now, in order to step the foot in between the hands, we need to engage through that serratus anterior. That's that scapular push-up movement, pushing the floor away. Hip flexor strength, bringing the knee into the chest, but also need to have a little bit of clearance to do so. So what I would recommend is just taking the hand out of the way and then planting the foot in between the hands. So maybe, so watch my hand as I lift up, I'm taking the palm off the floor, fingertips on the floor to plant the foot in between the hands. If this is too difficult, feel free, take it out of the way, lift the shoulder, and plant the foot in between the hands. So we'll do about 5 of those. Plant the foot in between the hands, bring it back, plant the foot in between the hands, put it back, plant the right foot up, bring it back. Okay, couple more. Last one. And this could also be done from a downward dog. So after you get really proficient with doing it with the knees on the floor, we would send it up and back to downward dog. The right leg steps back. Now as you bring the shoulders over the wrist, tippy toe on the left foot, move the right hand out of the way, plant the foot down, and then we're going to send it back. So swing that right leg back, plant the hand down, downward dog. We'll do 2 more of these. Bring the right leg back, come in, go and plant the hand down, send it back. Last one, maybe we keep the fingertips on the floor. Maybe we just lift the hand a little bit as we do it and send it back. One more time, right leg back goes back behind you. Plant the foot in between the hands, and then we're going to find our crescent lunge. So from crescent lunge with the hands on the hips, this is a step back lunge. We're going to do 10 of these. It's a little bit more advanced than the last lunges that we did. But if this doesn't feel right to you, you can always do the ones that we did before, where we just lower the knees towards the floor and come back up, that regular split squat. Okay, so this one we're going to lower the knee towards the floor, and then with momentum, we're going to stand up to a Tadasana. Step the left foot back behind you, lower the knee to the floor, step it back to that starting position. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, last one, 10. Hands meet together in front of the heart, inhaling to reach them up, exhaling to forward fold. Inhale to find length, exhale, step the left foot back. We'll bring the hands back to your blocks. And for the runner stretch and lunge transition on this side, straightening the right leg. As you inhale, reverse the movement into the lunge. And just moving back and forth at your own pace. Good. And the next time that right leg straightens, leave it straight. Lifting tailbone. Couple of breaths here. As you rebend the right knee, the blocks can move off to the side. Hands come to the floor. Right leg back to plank. Options to lower the knees, lean forward, bend the arms halfway. Inhaling low cobra or the chaturanga. Take it back, downward facing dog. Lowering the knees to the floor. Okay, so 5 repetitions of taking the left foot, planting it in between the hands. You can lift the hand up, plant it there, send it back. Lift it up, plant it, and back. 3 more. Good. Last 2. Good. And last one. Great. The other option, if you took it on the other side, tuck the toes, meeting in downward dog. Left leg goes back behind you. Plant the foot in between the hands. Send it back. Bring it back. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good. Meeting in crescent lunge. Hands can come to the hips. And again, you can do that same progression we did on the first round of lunges, or you can do this step back lunge. Right knee lowers to the floor, step forward with it, and then here's the step back lunge. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2 more, 9, last one, 10. Good. Hands meet together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach them up. Exhaling, forward fold. Inhaling to find length. Exhaling to fold. Couple breaths there in the standing forward fold. Grabbing opposite arms. Just doing a little sway from side to side. Just giving the head a little shake, yes. A little shake, no. Have the knees bent enough so that the belly rests on the thighs. Just getting a full release in the lower back. Making space for hamstrings that are a little tighter. Releasing the hands to the floor. Reach the arms, come up to stand. Hands meet together in front of the heart. The next movement we're going to do is the Malasana squat pose for repetitions. Now, Malasana is when you come into a squat and you have the elbows on the insides of the knees and hands together. What this does with the elbows and the knees is it prevents the knees from coming in. When we do squats for repetitions, we want to try and keep the outer hips engaged so that the knees don't come in if I release the elbows from the insides of the knees. So if I were to stand up and do these for repetitions, have the feet hip distance apart, toes pointing out slightly, and this will give you extra space in the ankles if they're on the tighter side. As you squat down, arms come out in front. This is going to help with counterbalance. Notice the knees if they want to track inward. Try and pull them towards the outside. So we're using our outer glutes to get this external rotation of the hip. Stand back up. One thing to keep in mind when doing these squats is to start the movement by pushing the hips back behind you as if you're trying to find a chair to sit on. Sometimes what happens is the knees track forward. They start to dip forward in the movement as opposed to the butt sitting back. So if it helps, place a chair behind you and use the chair to sit on until the movement pattern is ingrained and it becomes more familiar. Arms at the side, the feet hip width apart, toes pointing slightly out. As you squat down, we can come all the way down to the floor. As long as the heels don't lift, arms out in front, and then standing back up, arms to the side. And again, taking any depth in between, as long as pretty consistent. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, last one, 10. Great job, and we'll meet on the butt. So let's have the legs crossed in front of you, finding a Sukhasana, your easy seat, finding a tall spine, and then we'll start to walk the hands forward into our forward fold. And as you walk the hands back, we'll cross the legs the other way. And we'll walk the hands forward again. A few breaths. Good. As you walk the hands back, we'll take the soles of the feet together with the knees wide, Baddha Konasana. As you inhale to find a tall spine, exhale, you can forward fold. If it feels better to stay upright, feel free to do that as well. Good. And to come out, we'll meet on the back. And let's cross the right ankle over your left knee, lifting up the left thigh, interlacing the hands behind, flexing the right ankle to keep the knee protected. A few breaths here, supine pigeon. And to switch sides, uncrossing the legs, left ankle crosses over the right knee, lift up your right thigh, interlace the hands behind, left ankle stays flexed, as you draw the right knee in a little closer. As you uncross the legs, drawing both knees in, let the knees drop over to the right, reaching the left arm out to the side, looking over that shoulder. Coming back through center, bring the knees back in, let them go over to the left, reaching the right arm out to the side, and looking over the right shoulder. Drawing the knees back in. Just realigning the spine, little rock from left to right. And then taking some hip circles here, and you can either keep the knees together as you do your hip circles, rocking from left to right, or you can take the knees apart from another and do the hip circles that way, keeping the back rounded as you do. And just remember to take those hip circles in both directions. And then finding your way into Shavasana, you have the legs long on the mat. Knees could be bent with the feet on the floor, or feet together with the knees wide. Have the arms turned out to the sides with the palms facing up, or hands could be folded over the belly or chest. Softening the throat, unhinging the jaw, letting your teeth separate, allowing the space between the eyes to relax. The awareness comes into the breath without changing the breath, just noticing. Noticing the rise and the fall of the belly, the sensations as it enters and leaves your nostrils. See if you can keep an active awareness on the breath with the intentions of stilling the random thoughts of the mind. When the mind draws you away from the breath, just noticing where it takes you without passing any judgments on what you find when you get there. But then refocus the awareness back on the breath and allow yourself to be. beginning to come back to the breath, back to your body, inviting small movements back into your hands, into your feet, wiggling the toes or rubbing the fingertips with the thumbs, and making these movements larger, stretching out through the arms, the legs, and then placing the feet on the floor, drawing the knees in. Little rock from left to right. And eventually we'll roll onto the side into a fetal curl. And taking a breath when you get here. Using the strength of your arms, we'll press up into a comfortable seat. And the hands come together in front of the heart in Anjali Mudra. With your inhale, finding a tall spine, and with your exhale, letting the chin take a bow. Using this moment to thank your body for what it's able to do today. And I thank you for allowing me to share my practice with you. Om Shanti. Shanti Shanti. Peace. Namaste. And thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.